One of the things that Spirit likes to give me from time to time is, well, actually, not even from time to time, it's quite often lately. Um, Spirit will just tell me a psalm, right? And I've actually made little psalm cards, like index cards. So if you're interested in working with the psalms magically, medicinally, spiritually, I highly recommend that you find your own, resource for discovering the magical uses of Psalms and maybe write them down on the index cards. That has helped me a lot in using Psalms magically. I love the Psalms. I have recently gotten back into scripture journaling um, with the Psalms, and it started with Psalm 13 this week, this past week. I'm not going to go into explicit detail, but ever since last year, especially, my little family has been through a lot. Um, I went through some postpartum anxiety, uh, but when I went to get evaluated for it because of the stuff that was going on, it turns out that it was my PTSD. Because the doctors were evaluating me for postpartum anxiety and depression. And they were like, "You are not experiencing anything postpartum." And they're like, "What you are experiencing, however, are symptoms of PTSD." Now, for those of you that are getting to know me and are new here, I do have um, complex PTSD, which I manage very well for the most part. But last year was the first year of my life, where I was actually put on antidepressants. And I'm still on them right now. Spirit is actually guiding me through a process of preparation to go off of them very soon because I was told, intuitively I wouldn't be on them forever or anything like that. Um, but they have helped. And so this goes out to those of you who are feeling shame about considering that, or if you are on that and you have people in your circle that are shaming you for that, please don't listen to them. Um, Now, yes, these things are not meant to be a forever thing, in my personal opinion, as a holistic practitioner. Um, and they're not meant to be a be all end all. You should still be doing your inner work while you're using these things to help with the anxiety and the depression that can sometimes feel like a dark cloud over your mind, right? Um, but last year was very rough for my family, and it was rough in ways that I don't ever want to experience again, especially for my son, you know. Um, and it affected me. It affected my nervous system, which is why I'm so big on nervous system regulation. I have been for quite some time, but last year especially was like, no, witches and magic makers and spiritual practitioners need to know more about the effects of the nervous system and on your magic, because your nervous system really does affect everything. It affects your gut and your digestion and your mental health, your breathing, your sleeping, everything, the way you digest food. Um, so how could that not affect your magic? You know, um, Even down to the readings I do, it's very nervous system regulating, very down to earth, um, and truthful, because your nervous system needs truth. A lot of times, our nervous systems are in overdrive because of the amount of untruth we are living, settling for, or receiving. And that brings me to Psalm 13. Okay, so this week, Spirit gave me Psalm 13. Psalm 13 helps immensely with anxiety and depression. I'm actually going to go to my little index cards Credit to Ariel Gatoga. I think that's how you say his last name. His channel is amazing. He does a lot of wonderful classes on YouTube on the Psalms. And he actually has an entire index on how to use them magically. And so this is where I actually got that information from, and will be continuing my studies down this rabbit hole further down the line and adding more to these cards as I go from my own experiences with the Psalms. Because I find that like every year I go through like a deeper cycle with the Psalms. They've always been a source of comfort for me, as well as Proverbs. But Psalm 13 helps to overcome depression and anxiety, overcome trials. It provides protection during any dangerous situations. Okay. And sometimes that dangerous situation, sometimes that danger is ourselves. You know, when I teach tarot, one of the major suits of the tarot that brings challenges to every student I've taught so far is swords. And that's because the swords, in the way I teach it, represent the mind and what we're communicating and our mental health. Our beliefs are the way we're using words and so on. And your mind is a sword. It needs to be wielded properly. You need to really sharpen it and know how to use it and direct it. And when you are experiencing things like anxiety and depression, it feels like your mind is your enemy. And that can be dangerous. You can feel like you're a danger to yourself. But something stood out to me in Psalm 13 that I feel is such, how do I describe it? It's the blanket of comfort in Psalm 13, because Psalm 13 is very distressing at first. The psalmist is, saying things like, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my own soul?" And that's the part that stood out. How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long will my enemy be exalted over me? This shows that God has so much faith in us. God, spirit, however you define it, goddess, the angels, the universe. They're not going to do the work for you, right? They have so much faith in you to be able to figure this out too. And all they want you to do is take counsel in your own soul. That means address your truth. Take counsel in your own soul while having sorrow in your heart. I just had a discussion yesterday with some amazing people that I got to meet yesterday. And, I was discussing how I see the chakra system, right? And how the heart chakra is the central doorway between the physical and the spiritual. And if your heart is not in the right place, then your physical and your spiritual are going to suffer. And so the heart suffers when the soul is not acknowledged. The soul is different from the spirit. The soul is your humanity. The soul is your truth. The soul is how you navigate this life. And if you are navigating this life through fear and anger and people pleasing and putting on a happy face when you're not happy and, pretending essentially, your soul suffers. Your soul truth screams inside while you smile and tell the world, "Oh, I'm fine." And that creates a complete mismatched vibe. Your compass gets thrown off. You feel lost. You feel misdirected, misguided, misleaded, misinterpreted, even where you feel like people don't understand you. And then that creates a sense of loneliness, which feeds this enemy, right? that feels exalted over you. And the enemy is exalted over you because you have exalted your own falseness, your own insecurities, your own fears have become this entity over your life that has enabled you to be weak and imbalanced and unhealthy and anxious. Your anxiety and your depression are still messengers from your soul telling you, please just be honest with yourself. So what if people have taught you to lie to survive? Life is not about surviving, it's about living. Take counsel in your soul while you have sorrow in your heart. Because when you start taking counsel in your soul, your heart is going to mend. And that inner compass is going to clarify and recalibrate. I hope this found and fed you beautifully this morning, afternoon, or evening. I love y'all so very much. I'm feeling so much better. The only thing I have left is this dang cough. And but other than that, I feel much better. I have been dealing, with my own personal things coming up as Pisces season comes to a close. Um, but I am feeling much better, and I hope that this finds you feeling better about some of the things that trouble you. And you realize that the things that trouble you are really just trying to catch your attention and ask you to listen to the truth rather than settle for whatever lies you've been settling for. And I hope that maybe this inspires you to read Psalm 13 this week and see what medicine and magic you find in it for yourself. Love you all very much. And if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, you can comment below if you feel comfortable sharing publicly. If you would like a personalized emailed report reading, I offer a plethora of those at the link in my description below. There's tons of different types of readings I offer. If you'd like to just get started with a reading because you're not sure what to go with, I do offer one card readings to get you started and give you that nudge in the right direction. Give me up to 48 hours to deliver your reading, and I'd be happy to support you at this time. If you have any further questions, though, about Psalms, I'd be happy to assist you. Or I highly recommend that you go to Ariel's YouTube, which I will link in the description below as well, because he is an incredible source of Psalmic magic information. Love you all very much. Have a beautiful week.